Guys, this is Dylan from Raconteur Animation with another MoGraph tutorial for Cinema 4D. Today, we're going to be looking at two different ways to make MoGraph selections, which will allow us to affect the parameters of individual clones inside of our cloners. Now, what does that mean and what does it look like? To start, I'm going to add a cloner into our scene, and then I'm going to go ahead and place a cube inside of that cloner. And real quick, I'm just going to adjust some of our settings just so it's a little bit easier to see what we're working on. All right, now that that's set up, I'm going to show you our first method for MoGraph selection, which will be using the formula effector. So with my cloner selected, I can come into the MoGraph tab and add my formula effector into the scene. Now right away we can see how that's starting to affect our cloner, but for now I'm going to just check these settings off. I'm going to come underneath the effector tab, and what I'm interested in here is this formula section. Now, while there's a lot more we can do with the formula effector than just MoGraph selection, today I'm just going to be kind of focusing on the bare bones. So if we look at this variables section and come down to this ID parameter, which represents object index, that's what we're going to be using to make our MoGraph selection. Now, to make that kind of make more sense, I'm going to come back to the cloner and go underneath the transform tab. And underneath the display setting, I'm going to change it from none to index. And when I do that, you can see that Cinema numbers each clone starting at 0 and gives us an individual ID for that clone. So now, knowing that, I can come back to the formula effector, erase this scary looking formula, and if I want to select clone number 4, I can enter ID equals 4. Then if we go back to our parameter tab, check position on, we can right away see that that is only affecting clone 4. Now, that's nice if we're only affecting one individual clone. If we wanted to affect 4 and 5 using this method, we could add another formula effector into the scene. Change this to say ID equals 5. And now you can kind of see how that's working. We can control 5 and we can control 4 separately. And that is our first method of MoGraph selection. All right, next I'm going to be showing you our second method for MoGraph selection, which will allow us to select multiple clones using one tool. So for this method, we're going to be using the actual MoGraph selection tool. To start, I'll select my cloner, come back into the MoGraph tab, and this time I'm going to be using MoGraph selection. When we use that, we can see each of our clones gets an individual dot. So to grab the clones I want, I'm just going to click and hover my mouse over the clones I want to affect, 4 and 5. And we can see that that worked by the tag added to my cloner. So with my cloner still selected, I can go back into the MoGraph tab and add a plane effector into my scene. And when we add that, we can see that every clone is being affected. To change that, I can come into the effector tab, drag my MoGraph selection tag into the selection parameter here, and now you can see that only clones 4 and 5 are being affected by this effector. So those are our two different methods of MoGraph selection. You can combine both methods to do a wide range of different effects. And what we covered today is kind of just the beginning. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you guys next time.